Wonder Project is only a month into its development and it's already doing insanely well. In fact, so well, it's kind of eclipsing its main rival, which is kind of Angel Studios. Let's talk about this, and let's talk about this article from Variety, where it talks about how Wonder Project has gone from 0 to over 500,000 signups in its first 3 weeks of existence. Let's jump into this. This is a really big deal. And I know that like big numbers are big on the internet. We don't often get like a huge, like, does this really mean that this is a lot or is this a little? Like, how many subscribers does Netflix have, for example? Obviously a lot more than 500,000, but let's talk about this in context. Let's read some of this article and I'll talk to you about why this is such a huge deal. Okay. Wonder Project subscriptions offering pulls in 500,000 signups in its first 3 weeks. The Wonder Project subscription offering on Amazon Prime is off to a strong start. And that's very much true, right? We know Wonder Project is a brand new thing. Basically, it's an add-on, just like HBO or some of these other subscription models from Amazon Prime. So you pay an extra $9 a month on top of your Amazon Prime, and that gets you access to Wonder Project on its own. You can't, as far as I understand, access Wonder Project standalone. You can't do it outside of Amazon Prime. You have to first have a Prime Video membership, then you can add on top of that a Wonder Project membership, if that makes sense. Variety has learned exclusively that there has been over 500,000 subscription signups in the first 3 weeks since launch, with subscriptions becoming available on October 5th. Family and drama have been the two most popular genres, with titles like House of David Season 2. Of course, House of David Season 2 was finished so quickly because they wanted people to jump on the train and to spark all of these signups. So obviously that has worked insanely well. Okay, House of David Season 2. I will say this too, before we get into our deep dive of House of David tonight, House of David Season 2 has been a banger, has it not? I think it has eclipsed Season 1 quite thoroughly, in my opinion. So anyway, so House of David Season 2, the Bible miniseries, and Jesus Revolution being among the most popular per Wonder Project. Other popular titles include movies like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, The Sound of Music, Charlotte's Web, American Underdog, An Interview with God, and Something's Gotta Give, the last of which stars the late Diane Keaton. Wonder Project offers what they call edited versions of movie favorites. I want you to remember this, okay? Remember this line right here, because we're gonna come back to it in just a moment, okay? That means that movies available via the subscription are available as is or as TV edited versions would typically be shown on broadcast or basic cable to highlight the company's commitment to family co-viewing. The launch of the Wonder Project subscription coincided with Season 2 premiere of the biblical epic series House of David. Of course, that was extremely intentional, right? They're trying to get the subscriptions up, and so they launch House of David specifically on Wonder Project in order to get those subscriptions. Makes a lot of sense on the business side, right? The show remains the most popular offering. Yeah, no surprise there at all. While Wonder Project says that that excluding that show, 60% of viewing has been for TV series and 40% has been movies. 95 of all the titles in their catalog have been sampled since launch across 210 DMAs all over the country. So this is interesting because they excluded House of David in the analytics here, showing that 60% of the viewing has been for TV series and 40% for movies. My guess is that it's more like 95% are TV series because it's House of David, right? So I'm sure that the majority of people are only watching House of David here, and so that's probably why they excluded it in order not to skew the numbers here to make it look kind of weird, right? 80% of viewing occurs in the living room, with the remaining viewership divided between mobile, tablet, and web. Okay, that's cool. The data confirms what we believed. Millions of people have been waiting for exactly this. Faith is an audience, not a genre, and our viewing patterns prove it, said Kelly Merriman Hoogstraten, the CEO of Wonder Project. They're watching comedy, drama, documentaries, everything. House of David brought them through the door, but they're staying for the 100+ titles we've curated. Here's what delighted me. The vast majority are watching in the living room, on the big screen. Together, as a mom of 3, I know how rare that is, finding something everyone actually wants to watch. So after we see this, right, Obviously, Wonder Project has had an amazing start. 500,000 members within the first 3 weeks is nothing to scoff at. In fact, if we compare that to the nearest rival, which of course is Angel Studios, then we can look at how Angel Studios started their journey. Of course, beforehand, they had a pay what you want type model. When it came to Angel Studios, a lot of their stuff was free originally. Then in October of 2023, they launched their guild membership, essentially, where you could vote on new stuff that's coming out and you could watch what is on Angel Studios currently. Of course, this has become a huge part of their platform, and it is the main reason why they were even able to IPO or become a publicly traded company, okay? Which is pretty insane. I mean, obviously it's done, it's flushed them with money to enable them to do a lot more things in the future with Angel Studios. So, because of these guild members, they're able to fund everything, they're able to do everything, but they did not grow anywhere near this fast whenever they launched. Of course, they didn't have a title like House of David to really push it that hard. At the time, remember October 2023, this is when all the stuff with The Chosen started happening. So right when Angel was like starting this paid membership, they didn't have a really strong push for people to join like House of David Season 2 for Wonder Project. It just didn't work that way, right? And so for them, they kind of sputtered in the beginning and didn't have a ton of traction immediately. Now they went from 0 to about 300,000 in about a year. So it took them about a year and a half-ish to get to 500,000. Meanwhile, Wonder Project had done it in 3 weeks, right? So it's a lot different. Now, I do want to see eventually the analytics of the churn of that, meaning like how many of these people are signed up for like a week-long free trial, for example, and how many are going to keep it after the fact? Is this going to cut by 40% in a couple of weeks when all those free trials run out? Or are people actually going to keep Wonder Project in order to watch House of David Season 1 and 2 and all the other stuff, right? Or are people really just going to wait until it comes out on Prime and then cancel their Wonder Project membership anyway? Like, there's a lot of questions that I would have there for sure. Let me know in the comments, do you use Wonder Project and are you watching all the other things? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of media outside of what I do for this channel, right? Like biblical media. I watch a lot of YouTube, but I don't watch like Netflix or Hulu or even Prime Video outside of The Chosen, House of David, Testament on Angel, Promised Land on YouTube. So that kind of stuff is what I focus on. So let me know, are you a family who watches Wonder Project consistently? Is that something that you do? Is that normal for you? Let me know. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear where my audience is at with that, but it is quite interesting. Now, one last thing that I do want to point out, if we go back up here to this part where I was talking about before, there's this section where we can see that they have edited versions of movie favorites. So this is quite interesting. Like, if you've seen anything on TV, sometimes there will be a movie that cuts out like a cuss word or a particularly gory scene or something like that in order for it to be released on public or cable TV, right? And so a lot of times you'll see that. So that's essentially what's happening here. But what does that remind me of? It reminds me heavily of the original VidAngel platform. If you remember VidAngel before it became Angel Studios, these are two separate companies now, but VidAngel was kind of the original company that spouted out Angel Studios, and that company's whole purpose was to take popular shows like Game of Thrones or different things like that, and then make them into family-friendly versions of those things. Now, they went through a huge lawsuit with a bunch of different companies, particularly with Disney was the biggest kind of thing that happened there, but they were able basically to continue this and allow things to be more digestible in a family way, right? So even this reminds me a ton of Angel Studios and where they've come from, right? Of the VidAngel platform. So I wonder how that will all go down. Like, are they just using like the TV edited versions, or are they going to be editing things beyond that? And will that get them into lawsuits like it did for VidAngel before? I'm sure they've learned from those stories as well. But it is quite interesting though to see that. So I wonder what kind of stuff they'll have on the platform? Like, are they going to have like, you know, a Game of Thrones type thing that they can edit down to be a family friendly version? I don't know. I don't really see them doing that. I think they're going to be focusing more on just family friendly stuff altogether, right? Which is kind of what they're doing. Like you see that from these titles here, like Charlotte's Web, American Underdog. Of course, they have close relationships with Kingdom Story Company, who John Irwin originally started with his brother Andy, and so. That of course is going to make sense that they're going to have all those Kingdom Story Company movies like American Underdog and Jesus Revolution, things like that are already tied together since they're kind of sister companies. Wonder Project is a studio, Kingdom Story Company is a production company that helps to actually make the things, and so they work together in that. But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on this. Obviously, congrats to Wonder Project for 500,000 members in the first 3 weeks. That is absolutely insane, and I think very unexpected. I thought there was going to be members for sure. I thought people were going to be excited about it, but from what I've seen, there are a lot of people that are way more excited about House of David than I thought that they would be at the beginning of this year. Yeah, it's been a wild ride so far. Let me know your thoughts about all of this, and of course, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.